So Metallica, over a month ago, released their second single of the new Metallica album, 72 Seasons. The song that had a lot of mixed reactions from fans. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I'm talking about Screaming Suicide, a song that we're gonna dive deep into today and analyze everything we could about it. So, welcome friends to yet another episode of Why They Don't Suck. So the song starts right away with a really cool melody on the lead guitar. Then we transition into a really simple yet funky harmony. And if you remember, Moth into Flame, which was also the second single of Hardwired, also contained a very simple yet catchy harmony in the intro. So yeah, looks like this is the first real harmony of 72 Seasons. Hardwired contained lots of harmonies, so I'm guessing this is the first of many of the new Metallica album. Then we get to the main riff of the song, which is also rather simplistic. In general, it's catchy, fun, upbeat, and the riff sounds really happy and lighthearted. And the vibe of the riff kind of reminds me of the main riff in Atlas Rise. Then we get to the verse, which is also really joyous sounding. Really everything has this positive attitude. The verse riff, the verse vocal melody, everything is so jumpy and happy, which is really surprising because you'd think they go for a more somber tone with the subject matter. For example, Fade to Black, which is also about suicide, but it's one of the most depressing Metallica songs ever. So it's kind of an unusual mixture they made there. A really dark lyrical topic, accompanied by a fun attitude and groovy melodies. And the creepy pre-chorus is honestly one of the best parts of the song in my opinion. The evil vibe to it, the modulation on how James sings it, it just adds up to a really interesting section of the song for me. Listen well, better listen well. So Metallica are 2 for 2 with these catchy pre-choruses. One on Lux Eterna and one on Screaming Suicide. And speaking of the pre-chorus, many people mention how Screaming Suicide is really close to their Reload style, which is really true. A couple of Reload songs have such creepy pre-choruses. A song that comes to mind, for example, is Slither, which also has an atmospheric pre-chorus. So there's definitely a stylistic connection between Reload and Screaming Suicide. The chorus was pretty catchy too. It's nothing too fancy, but it has its cool moments. For example, the transition in the beginning of the chorus was great. The way it punches you in the face out of nowhere, like BAM! I thought it was a really cool way to transition from the pre-chorus into the chorus. And I also love this muted chug that goes along the drums. It creates this pounding sound. And I also have to mention how on the last chorus, James changes the words from "My name is suicide"
Keep me inside, my name is suicide.
To "Screaming Suicide," the song title.
Keep me inside, screaming suicide.
It's an interesting moment, kinda reminds me of The Thing That Should Not Be, where James screams that song title at the end of the song as a sort of a high point climactic reveal.
Drain you of your sanity. Face the thing that should not be.
And speaking of the verse and chorus, James once again proves that his voice aged fantastically on this record. The raspy, the gritty sounding vocals sounded great throughout the song.
Don't ever speak my name. Remember you're to blame. Keep me inside, my name is suicide.
So it's really incredible how a guy that's almost 60 years of age managed to preserve his voice and sing that well on yet another Metallica record. Now we get to the middle section, or the bridge of the song. The riff in the bridge is really simple, but there's this captivating element to it. I simply cannot get it out of my head. It's really catchy. And honestly, Kirk's solo really impressed me on the song. I was not expecting it to be good. I honestly had, and still have, pretty low expectations for the lead work in general on 72 Seasons, but man, I didn't expect to like the solo that much. It's really well composed and fits the song really well. The first lick that follows the rhythm kind of reminds me of the intro solo on Hate Train from Beyond Magnetic. And Kirk directly references Deep Purple on the second part of the solo, and more specifically, he references the song Speed King. The two licks sound basically identical. Metallica have always been huge fans of Deep Purple. We all know their cover of When a Blind Man Cries. And also, Lars told Rolling Stone magazine that Made in Japan was one of his favorite albums of all time. So there's definitely a tribute or homage here to Deep Purple by Kirk. The second part of the solo really reminds me of the Reload style of soloing, particularly on the more wild, underrated songs. The solo reminds me of something you would hear on Better Than You or on Prince Charming. So, considering the many stylistic similarities between Screaming Suicide and Reload, I think we're safe to say here that this song sounds like a hybrid between the Reload style and the Hardwired style. The solo ends with a really interesting transition. It's really cool. Kinda reminds me of a similar lick on The Four Horsemen. There's a really interesting riff that is being played under the solo on the rhythm. It's like a mixture between the verse riff and the bridge riff. It starts like the verse, and then it ends like the bridge. Now let's talk about the lyrics of Screaming Suicide. This song is about the taboo word of suicide, how we are conditioned to never talk about it or mention it, even though we can all relate to it and should address the darkness we feel inside. The song personifies suicide as a sort of entity or person that talks to the victim, like how Master of Puppets pictures addiction as a person having a conversation with the addict. The song talks about how the victim is in constant agony and struggle, as in, welcome to this life, born into the fight, here to claim your dream. The voice of the suicidal thoughts causes constant self-doubt and low self-esteem, as in, then my voice appears, teaching you of fears, are you good enough? The person struggling pursues a cheap, hedonistic lifestyle as a remedy for his constant struggle, as in, look you in the eye, patch the broken sky, craving dopamine. The broken sky symbolizes his life, and the patch symbolizes his makeshift pleasures. A lot of people suffering from such things engage in self-punishment or self-blame, as in, curse another day, spirit locked away, punish and deprive. A lot of suicidal people can escape reality by simply not getting out of bed and staying asleep, because them being awake means experiencing the pain, as in, hate to be awake, living a mistake, more dead than alive. And these people give themselves hope in that constant internal debate, as in, throwing down a rope, a lifeline of hope, never give you up, and as in, then a voice appears, whisper in your ears, you are good enough. And suicidal people often struggle from insomnia, as in, terrified, sleepless nights, caught in spotlight, dead to rights. These intrusive, self-harming thoughts are always there in the back of your head, but you need to ignore it and suppress it to go on with life, as in, isolate and fight your mind, telling you you've left behind. And the song talks about how society is built on never addressing the issue of suicide, and how it's a taboo, a sensitive topic never to be spoken of, as in, don't ever speak my name, and as in, keep me inside. And the ironic part is that YouTube is demonetizing videos and burying videos that address issues like these. Even the song itself has like a warning pop-up. So this ironic incident just confirmed James's point of view on the subject. I really like the lyrical material on this song, and honestly, even if you don't like the song very much, you have to admire the amount of people that have related and connected to this song. A lot of people shared stories about the topic, and it just created a healthy, safe space for the fans to open up about that subject. And Rob receives a writing credit on the song, which means he probably wrote a riff for the song. But the question is, which one is that? All of the riffs really sound like Hetfield to me. Or maybe he wrote the harmony melody, because Metallica does reward writing a harmony with a credit. Cliff has a couple of writing credits on Ride the Lightning just from writing the harmonies. So we don't know for sure. We're just gonna have to wait and see if they reveal it in the making-ofs. So, is 72 Seasons going to be a more inclusive project where all band members contribute, unlike Hardwired, which was more of a monopoly by James and Lars? I really hope so, and I'm guessing that, yeah, the new album will be more of a collective work. And after the solo, we get the breakdown. It's like this atmospheric, eerie section which I really enjoy. It's really simple, but less is more in that case. Whether it's the chugging jit part, or the other melody which is really evil and catchy. And to be completely honest with you guys, on my first listen of the song, I was rather underwhelmed. But listen after listen, it started to grow on me like crazy, and it became a favorite quick, which is something a lot of people talked about. How at first, they were disappointed by the song, but then it grew on them. So maybe this is the new thing for 72 Seasons, that we need multiple listens to fully absorb the songs. And also, let's talk about the music video of the song. Contrary to Lux Eterna's more flashy, colorful music video, this one seemed more internal, more unsettling, I would say. Full on black and white, weird speed changes in the video. Sometimes it's a slow mode or a freeze frame, I would say. I don't really understand the technical terms behind it. And also, this internal feeling was captured by James singing into the microphone, going all psycho. So it felt like it captured the internal struggle of suicide really well. So we discussed everything we could today about the second single of 72 Seasons, Screaming Suicide, which I honestly love. I know a lot of people don't like this song, but this is really just my genuine opinion. So tell me, what did you think of the video, and what do you think of the new Metallica song?